This video is extra special. It took 2 months to make. We talk about how we became Queen of the Rose Show at the South Carolina Fair, and we go over how we got here. We first need to talk about what is Queen of the Rose Show. We're talking specifically hybrid teas, long single stem, big bloom. The top prize in this is the Queen. That is first place. And then it goes King, which is second place, and Princess, which is third. But this is the Queen, Sunny Sundays. I won first place with this bloom. And then I won third place, or Princess, with Louise Estes. So that's Queen's Court, Queen, King, Princess, first, second, and third. A lot of folks try to aim for this as the top bloom. You can see Sunny Sundays is looking fantastic at the show. So how did we get here? The journey actually started August 26th. The Rose Show was October 10th, and usually if you prune about 7 to 8 weeks prior to a date, you will have blooms. Of course, it depends on weather. If you have a lot of varieties and you spread out that pruning over 10 days, you're going to have something. And then a few days later, we put down some alfalfa pellets, also some slow release fertilizer, 18-6-12. I'm a huge believer in slow release fertilizer and organics for the long haul. You're feeding the soil, and with my sandy soil, organics last much, much longer. So I don't use a ton of fertilizer, but each time I prune, afterwards I do some slow release organics and something synthetic. Now, as we got in toward the first week of September, we did use a little bit of Miracle Grow. It's something similar to that. It's a wettable powder, and I did use the sump pump. I've got 2 30-gallon trash cans, and I fill that up and put those on the roses. So a little bit of liquid, but mainly organics for our feeding program. By September 23rd, more than 2 weeks before the show, I start to identify blooms that may be queen, great leaves, long stem. If they meet that category, I start to cover them up. So yes, I still do some light fertilization. Yes, I'm, watering the roses pretty heavily. But the main thing in the weeks leading up to the show is identify the blooms that may win queen. And you can clearly see this Sunny Sunday standing out. So I got my containers ready. These are on conduit pipes. You'll notice a stake on Sunny Sundays. We were extremely windy in the weeks leading up to the show. So I go around the garden. Sometimes I even prune away parts of the rose bush that are near it because I don't want anything touching this potential queen. At this point, all it is a nice stem and foliage. I have no idea what the bloom is going to do, but I use organza bags to cover it up to prevent things like thrips from interfering with the bloom. Still some liquid fertilization, but I want you to pay attention to this. Day after day, I'm covering blooms, checking things out, and as that bud starts to crack and show color, hopefully you get this. This is Sunny Sundays, the evening before the show. It doesn't always work out like this. This bloom is a little tight, and the saying goes, cut them tight and they'll be all right. You can always open a bloom with Q-tips and cotton balls, which I'll show you. But I got really lucky. It timed out. Look at the stem. Look at the bloom. I had other blooms that were a little earlier, and up to about a week, you can put those in the refrigerator, and they will last. So now, the adventure, getting the rose to the show. You ready for some craziness? Look at these blooms. Cotton balls, Q-tips, what are they doing? They are put in to try to open up the bloom. Through the course of hours and days, by moving it into sun-filled rooms, using tricks like this, you can open up that bloom. Ideally, you want it about 1/2 to 3/4 open with a pinpoint center. I use containers like this to get them to the Rose Show, and it took a while. I left at 1 a.m. to get here at 6. I always like to be the first one, so I can do stuff like this. Get those cotton balls in there, adjust the Q-tips as needed, and you can certainly manipulate the bloom. You're not going to open up a bud, but if it's a quarter open already, you can get it into exhibition form quite easily. I had 3 Claire Elises to work with, also the Louise Estes and Sunny Sundays. Nothing compared to this. Satish Prabhu, one of the top exhibitors in the whole country. He was down in Columbia, South Carolina, has recently relocated to Charlotte, and look at these blooms. Miss Kitty, Ring of Fire, just outstanding blooms. He made the court with the Miss Kitty. There's Jewel Grace, made King with Marlin's Day. Had a nice Ring of Fire as well. So I'm competing against this. It looked like he had at least 20 hybrid teas. There's the Ring of Fire. So we're talking perfection. So just top-notch exhibitors at the South Carolina Rose Show, Steve Arrowwood and others competing. That's Crescendo. So just really, really nice blooms. There's a nice hot princess as I zoom in. He's working on a miniature rose right now. So he has minis, mini flores, and hybrid teas. I can't focus on all that. I bring a few hybrid teas, and that's what I focus on because that's all my brain can handle. So as they put in Q-tips and also cotton balls, they're also labeling the rose, entering it in the correct category. So some categories are for hybrid teas, others are for English boxes. This gentleman is working on Black Magic. So a lot of work, polishing the leaves, trimming off anything that looks distracting. And then this is my entry before the show. This is Sunny Sundays before I took it to the table. Leaves all polished up, looking good. I had a Sunny Sundays, Louise Estes, and Claire Elise, my 3 entries. Sunny Sundays looked the best going in, and then anything that wasn't entered in hybrid tea was in the English box that you just saw. Look at this competition. Look at all these blooms. These all look good. There's my Louise Estes. The clerks are putting it in alphabetical order. That is the first round. In alphabetical order, like variety competes against like variety. So for example, as the judges are looking for centers and foliage and overall growth and form, they're comparing rose versus rose. So eventually they're going to start to look at Louise Estes, here's mine, and it's picked over the other Louise Estes's, and it gets a blue ribbon. That's extremely important. You don't have a chance to get the queen unless your rose is given at least a blue ribbon. There's the blue ribbon winners, 19 of them. Look at Claire Elise. Perfection. It got a blue ribbon, but it didn't make it to the top 11 or the final round of 7. Hot Princess did. There's my Louise Estes. Sunny Sundays did. This is the final selection. They're looking for the center, looking for color and substance. I mean, these are all great. There's Miss Kitty looking very nice as well, and there's the Ring of Fire. So it's got to get a blue ribbon, and then it makes it to subsequent rounds, and it made it all the way through. Sunny Sundays was queen, and then Louise Estes was princess, which is 3rd place. So a lot of rounds of competition. Very, very competitive show. And again, like varieties competing against like varieties. And then if they get the blue ribbon, they get pulled to the side and gradually whittled down to top 11, top 7, and then final Queen's Court, which again, Queen, King, and Princess. 1st, 2nd, 3rd. There is Louise Estes. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the show. It was a lot of work. Again, going back to August 26th. Again, not every day was I out there, but as we get closer, certainly identifying which stems could be queenly, pretty easy to do. If it's a big stem with great foliage, it's got a chance. But sometimes the bloom doesn't open, or the bloom opens and it doesn't look good. So it just depends, and that's why I have about 42 hybrid tea roses. That may sound like a lot, but my competitors have well into the hundreds of roses. When you have that many varieties, you're certainly going to have a chance to have something at the show. The one thing you don't see in this video is the social aspect. It's competitive. We're all trying to win, but other people help you. Enter tags, run roses to the show. What do you think about this bloom? What would you do with this petal? So it's a real friendly environment. We had a nice luncheon afterwards, and the folks in South Carolina at the State Fair, and of course it's the Greenville Rose Society, the Columbia Rose Society, some of the nicest folks you'll meet in the country. Just a great time. This is another view of Louise Estes. So I hope you enjoy the trip back to August as we pruned the roses down and we crossed our fingers and we braved hurricane off the coast and nor'easters and wind. And we used the fertilization and the watering to produce this. And again, the days leading up to it and weeks, we're out there covering blooms. Those bloom protectors protect it from dew and raindrops. Little blemishes matter. When you're talking that stiff competition, you try to do everything to get perfection, which is the Sunny Sundays you're looking at right now. And Louise Estes, not too shabby at all. As always, I appreciate the follows. Comment below, have you been in a rose show? And what did you think of the queen of the South Carolina show?